Now, we're waiting for the Electoral Commission numbers to come in, but we are picking up information from scrutineers looking at the count as it's unfolding, and there is, it appears, a big swing away from the Labor government. Jacinta Price, I've just heard from a Labor source that says Eva Lawler in big trouble in the seat of Drysdale in Palmerston, but it's not just Palmerston, it's the urban seats more broadly where scrutineers are saying there's a big swing away from the government.
Correct. There appears to be a swing toward the CLP taking place in the urban areas. I'm also getting information that there's a swing toward the Greens in Fanny Bay, which I think was perhaps expected. But certainly, yeah, there is concern for Eva in her seat, and it's like we've seen, it's going to be very interesting in Breitling as well. But in that case, I think Josh just might be in for the win with that one. But I think they're going to go head to head. I'm actually quite surprised that I figured that there'd be a little bit more support for the Labor candidate in Breitling, but it looks to be a contest between Greens and CLP.
What do you think would drive those results for the Greens in Breitling and Fanny Bay? Is it this thing they have going on rents at the federal level? Are they driving that at the local level, or is it environmental issues, or is it just an anti-government but they don't want to go CLP? What do you think is driving that vote?
Sure. I mean, I think crime is an issue, but I think they want to take a bit of a nicer approach to crime in those particular seats where I guess, you know, those constituents are a little bit more comfortable to the rest of the Northern Territory. And so they would like to see crime targeted, but I don't think they believe in building new prisons to tackle crime in that way. And they want to take a more sort of a wholesome approach to particularly kids on the streets as well.
Can I ask you too, because you were calling for a while for a federal intervention, as was Peter Dutton in Alice Springs. No matter who wins tonight, are you still up for that? Are you still of the belief that is required, the ADF, the AFP, to have some involvement? Or if the CLP take power tonight, is that sufficient, their plan, to tackle the problem?
Look, I think they have got a good plan to tackle the problem. What I would suggest is that we could also go further in terms of dealing with substance abuse issues right across the Northern Territory. I think, you know, mandatory rehabilitation, if it's taking place within the prison system itself, can be very helpful in dealing with those problems. I think, you know, being able to rehabilitate prisoners but also give them an opportunity for employment. I think federal intervention from the perspective of needing a royal commission into the sexual abuse of Indigenous children is still something that we will absolutely pursue going toward the next federal election, because the reason why our kids are on the street is because those kids are our most vulnerable kids, and we need to deal with it so that we can, at the other end, decrease incarceration by treating the problem from when they're children.
And Nicole, are you also hearing of a swing to the CLP, and does that perhaps not surprise you that these are the early indications at least?
It is very early in the night, but I am seeing some indications that there are swings to the CLP, and going right across the Greater Darwin area. So we can see those early numbers coming in. I'm not going to get too carried away just yet. I'm hearing that we're looking pretty good out in Guadja, which is great, with our Deputy Leader Chancey Paik, seems to be polling quite strongly. And also I'm getting the same information as Jacinta. It is not a CLP-ALP seat in Breitling. They are counting the CLP against the Greens there. So, you know, there's always one surprise in a territory election, always one seat that brings out a surprise. I was really not expecting to see that Josh Burgoyne would be up against a Green as his greatest competitor, and for the Greens to be really giving it a shot. But from all accounts, apparently they're running a very, very strong campaign.
What about in Fanny Bay? The Greens apparently leading in Fanny Bay as well.
Okay, I haven't seen any numbers from Fanny Bay, but what I will say is that there is an amazing candidate there in Brent Potter for the ALP. All the feedback I have from anybody who talks to me from the Fanny Bay electorate is that they think Brent's done an incredible job. He came in a by-election. He's a guy that does what he says he's going to do, and he has just been amazing in tackling the main issues out there that people are really concerned about. So
those seats, though, in the northern suburbs where you're from, the margins are pretty chunky. They're significant margins. The question is, will it be enough to prevent the swing that's on?
Yeah, there's definitely a swing on. We can see that swing. How big exactly it will be, we don't quite know yet, but there's certainly an indication, as we expected, as we said at the start of the night, We always thought going for the third term that we were going to have some of that vote come back. The question now is how big, and how big is that swing?
And Kieran's mail on Eva Lawler's seat, are you hearing similar mail?
I haven't seen numbers for Drysdale yet.